As Christian said, the Industrial Relations Committee is a lively community in the IAF family. We are in, let's say, supporting the Federation in the organization of the Industry Day, but we are also in charge of the organization and selection of the Industry Award, for which this afternoon at lunchtime we will be delivering the prizes to the winners. On top of that, we have also a number of other activities I will report to you about later on. But before that, we have organized, let's say, just very short speeches and keynotes for you. And it is my special pleasure to welcome our first keynote speaker, that is Julien-Alexandre LAMAMY, that is the CEO of ispace Europe. And he will tell us a bit about the experience, the international experience, the international dimension that his company is currently having, that is very well, let's say, reflecting the spirit of the Federation. Therefore, please join me in a round of applause to welcome Julien on the stage.
As Carlo said, I wanted to use just a few minutes this morning to echo a discussion of yesterday about international collaboration and provide a new space perspective on it. ispace, since the very beginning, has been a multinational company. Yes, we're based in Japan. That's one of the defining characteristics. But very early on, we've already had a presence in the US, presence in Europe, in Luxembourg, and our office in Japan was very international. I joined ispace in 2017, so roughly 6 years ago. ispace at the time was about 20-25 people, and already back then, with that size of company, they had the motivation to open an office in Luxembourg after the Space Resources Initiative of that country, which wanted to put Luxembourg on the map of space and space resources. So I joined. We were 2 people in 2016, 2017. Today we're 30 plus people and over 20-25 nationalities. So a very high ratio, very high diversity in terms of cultures and nationalities. This is a picture we took a month ago. Every year we celebrate our international cultures at the office. So we dress up in our respective national outfits with more or less creativity. And we share some food. But you can see, so this is our Luxembourgish team. Everybody's happy, first, and second, very high, cultural diversity. And this, cultural mix is also represented in Tokyo as well. We also have 20 nationalities over there. So it's, yes, it's a Japanese company, but a very, very big contribution from everyone. And I think that's really what the new space breed of companies, ispace, Astroscale, Orbit Fab, can bring to everybody attending the IAC, is an option to work on some really cool projects whatever your nationality is. It's all about talent. Are you a good engineer? Are you a good business development person? And then please come work for us. Another aspect of international collaboration is this one. This is our M1 lander. So the spacecraft that took the picture I showed on the first slide, this is the spacecraft that took that picture. This is the flight model being built in Lampertshausen, Germany. You can see Ariane Group right there. Ariane Group was our supplier for the AIT facility. So this is, again, a very practical example of international participation for our lunar program. We have a lander being designed in Japan, assembled in Germany, launched in the US, operated from Tokyo with ground segments from ESOC and a backup mission control room in Luxembourg. And this remains today the only spacecraft of its kind ever built in Europe, a lunar lander. I hope we can make more in the future. And then more importantly, the last aspect of international collaboration for ispace and the new space breed is our customers. Our M1 mission was not a tech demo mission. It was already business development, business creation mission. We had all these customers on the left here: Moab and Bedrashi Space Center, JAXA, NITRA, Mission Control Space System, Canadensis, NGC, are all private companies. And then NASA for a regulated contract. So you can see a very high mix of customers from a nationality perspective: Dubai, Japan, Canada, US. Also from a let's say maturity perspective, the Dubai Space Agency doing a very traditional lunar exploration rover with a Rashid rover pictured here. JAXA doing a very more like a PR type rover. I don't know if you saw your Sora Q rover, very cute. And then international private contributions for tech demonstration, business demonstrations, and then the resource contract. So we see here a very diverse portfolio in terms of cultures, types of business, and very promising for the future. So what I want to finish on today is, agencies think of international collaborations. I think there's a big role to play for new space companies like iSpace, and I mentioned again a few others, Astroscale, OrbitFab, to propose a new model, more like international participation, which means opening up careers for all the talent worldwide to participate in new adventures for space in the coming decade. Building value chains of industry collaboration across nations. So I mentioned our collaboration with IAC Group, for example, but others as well. And opening access, in our case, to the surface of the moon for new governments, emerging space agencies, so that those space agencies, if they are risk takers, can jump on board as soon as possible. And have the control of their own space programs to the moon and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Julien. Thank you for your inspiring words. I'll take back the floor just to go back to the Industrial Relations Committee. I mentioned that as a lively community before. I said what were the most important products, but this year we challenged ourselves on something different, which was not done at an IAF level before, which was putting together some reflections on a specific topic and issue a white paper that will go out in the next few weeks via the IAF communication channels. Now, in debating the topic for this paper, we were trying to identify subjects which would have been relevant for industry at a global level. And one of those that was basically common to different industries, both at a geographical level, but also at a category level, so from SMEs to industry, let's say to LSIs, to large system integrators, was the ability to recruit new talents and in view of the need that the new markets are basically generating. So we have put together a paper which was regarding we called it on the scarcity of the workforce in the aerospace industry. And we were analyzing that in different ways, in the sense that we were analyzing which was the problem. We tried to categorize that. We analyzed which were the current measures which were put in place in order to mitigate this effect and provide some recommendation, let's say, to the community. So clearly we started from the points which are attractive from the aerospace standpoint, meaning it's clearly cutting edge technology, is clearly pushing the frontier of knowledge, and at the same time very high standards in terms of quality and performance. But sometimes these are not just unique, attractive factors, because there are also other elements that we need to take into consideration regarding the fact that, especially in the Western world, we have decreasing population. Decreasing population means indirectly less students, and some of these students, as we know globally, are becoming less attracted by STEM subjects. So this is clearly creating, let's say, a first element, which is providing a view on the limitations, at least of the population, the potential population that can develop into the engineers of the future. we looked also at the comparison in terms of remuneration, for example, with other parallel sectors which are exploiting engineering competence, but that in some cases are more, let's say, rewarding in terms of salaries, in particular in the IT technology area, cyber and so on, where based on the experience that we made, we realized that for the same profile, they are basically more, let's say, rewarding than aerospace itself. And then also a number of other aspects that, especially for the new generation, seem to be particularly relevant, which is the burden that is generated by government procurement conditions, by export control and so on, which are often considered as a deterrent in the moment in which, let's say, a job, a special position has to be chosen. So because of that, I mean, we analyze the problems, we categorize them into a, let's say, social, into an educational, into a let's say, professional category. And we try to provide some recommendations, and also based on the fact that for example, after the pandemic, we got awareness of different working modes which were already available before with the tools that we had, but that were not properly exploited. And then we look also at the possibility I mean, I mentioned this already, to create a better synergies between university and industry, because there are I mean, I'm not questioning the technical qualification, but in some cases, let's say, engineers are not, let's say, properly aware in the beginning on other topics that are relevant for their career, such as financial and contractual, such as risk management, identification management, and quantification, which are essential factors in their professional careers and that should be nurtured from their early stages. On the financial problem, I mentioned that the competition with some areas is hard to be maintained, but is also the issue generated by the hyperinflation of these last few months. Some companies, the companies that showed attention to this problem, for example, with one-off payments, in order to compensate inflation, or with some salary increases, were those that were able to better retain their talents than those that didn't take any measure. The companies that showed, for example, more flexibility in the working environment were also those that were able to better retain their talents. In some cases, for example, in the Netherlands, many companies, including ours, has adopted a much more flexible working policy, meaning that you can spend 50% of your working time from home for some functions, of course. If you're doing integration, you cannot bring the satellite at home, but definitely this is something that was welcome, because those people that were commuting 1 hour to go and 1 hour to go back to their work were basically gaining, let's say, for 3 days a week, 6 hours of time for themselves in order to allow, let's say, a better balance between their professional and their private life, which is not spent in the traffic on the highway. So all these points were reflected in the paper. I'm not gonna give you all the details, because I'm hoping that I'm stimulating your curiosity enough in order for you to go and look at that. Why we are making this presentation today is simply to make you aware of what we have been doing, and we are interested in feedbacks. Therefore, should there be any elements that is missing, or some additional reflection or data points that from your experience may be worth to be addressed in this context, we would be happy to have a discussion with you and possibly include it in our exercise. More will come from our committee. If you are interested in our activity and you are an industry representative, please get in touch with the Secretariat and we'll be happy to join our forces together. Thank you very much for your attention.